Hey everyone, what's up? This is Dr. Charlie Johnson, physical therapist. Really appreciate you checking out this video and just super grateful to have a woman and a member of my private coaching program, the Glute Relief Accelerator Program. Her name is Lauren. Lauren, say hello. There's Lauren. Thank you so much for, just being willing to share your story. There's so many people out there with, these back, butt, sciatica problems that are just kind of chronic, ongoing. People are trying lots of different things. They're not getting the results that we're looking for. And I know you jumped through a ton of loopholes prior to sort of coming on board and being able to solve the problem rather quickly. So thanks for being here. And if it's cool, we're just going to share a little bit about your story.
Sure. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, kick it off. Like what were some of the diagnostics and or things you came into the program with, right? Like what were some of the labels that you were I don't know, that were slapped on you?
The primary thing that was being tossed around by an orthopedic surgeon was either sacroiliitis or SI joint dysfunction. That seemed to be where my pain centered. He also noted greater trochanteric bursitis. It was the longest.
Very good. Yeah.
Something about my hips. The outside of my hips were hurting. And Piriformis, had pain in my glutes. I couldn't sit. And then I also saw a chiropractor. He concurred that there was something going on in the SI joint. So it seemed to be that most things were centered around the SI joint. But the pain was definitely like radiating up into my mid back, into my shoulder, like between my shoulder blades. Yep. And in both hips, kind of back and forth. So that was where most of my pain experience was.
Okay, so piriformis syndrome, you named a couple of things. SI joint problems or sacroiliitis, itis just meaning like inflammation of the SI joints, right? Kind of both sides. I think it was more one side than the other. Is that correct?
Right.
More right. Then you just mentioned like greater trochanteric bursitis. That's a mouthful. So point is that you had all kinds of different labels and or diagnostic things you were told were wrong with you. As we'll come to find, maybe they weren't as accurate as you thought, right? And how long were you dealing with that, if I can ask?
It started, actually, I remember the day that I felt the first kind of shot of pain was in late March of 2022. And by the time I discovered you on YouTube actually was late August. So I was going through it for quite a while.
Okay, cool. And so you were labeled with these different things, right? Can you paint a picture of what life was like dealing with those labels, right? Dealing with that pain experience. So I know you just said you had trouble sitting. How long could you sit? Like, how is this impacting like what you were dealing with here?
It was dramatic. The sitting issue was the biggest issue. I'm a desk jockey for work, and I literally couldn't sit. So
okay.
I very quickly, within a couple of weeks of the onset of the pain, I was not sitting at all. So had to buy a standing desk. I threw a desk chair in a dumpster because I thought there's no point. I'll never sit.
This is the IKEA chair. The IKEA chair.
That's the IKEA chair. Yeah, it's famous. It was. I don't know where it is now. But I couldn't sit. So it's not an exaggeration to say that I stood or I was in bed. There was no sitting, in fact, and my life became very small because, you have to sit in a car. So I started having to do grocery online delivery service because I didn't even want to get in the car to go to the grocery store. There was no sitting at all. I ceased all activities. I've always been extremely active. I was an athlete in high school. And I've always been really into weightlifting. That is my passion. And I lost all of that. So I was either in bed, which wasn't even that comfortable. I struggled with sleep also, but I was either in bed or standing. So it was exhausting.
Wow. Okay, so roughly, let's just say, I don't know, half a year before you found this kind of idea, right? You say something that so many people I think can resonate with. So if you're watching this right now, you might feel like, hey, I used to be able to live like this life. Maybe there's not even a box there. I could kind of do whatever I want. I could go to the gym. I could work however I want. I could do whatever I want. And then something happens, right? And then it's like we start getting boxed in to the point where you're pretty much living a life of avoidance at that point prior to the program, laying down, trying to find comfort, but who likes to lay down all day? And we're completely avoidant of sitting, which, by the way, you kind of need to be able to do that for work. So I think you, again, standing desk, is that what you were doing for the most part? or some
Yep.
makeshift thing. Cool, cool. Awesome. And so, yeah, just feeling boxed in, living life small, right? Not being able to jump outside of that. So, are you able to do things you want now? Like, just jump ahead real quick, and then we'll go back because I want to highlight a couple things. Where are you at now after going through the process in the program?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I'm still wearing my workout clothes from this morning. I rode on my Concept 2 for my warm up. I
Nice.
did like a morning mobility thing from YouTube, and then I do these really extreme workouts from some lady in Ireland named Caroline Gervin. They're
Cool.
notoriously TikTok viral workouts that are extremely challenging. And
Cool.
I do those 5 days a week. I hike on the weekends with my husband. He mountain bikes and I hike, and we measured it. It's a 6 mile route and
Mhm.
I hammer it. So I usually run most of it and I'm fine. So no, I have no chronic pain whatsoever. And I'm stronger than I was. I did buy additional dumbbells a few weeks ago. So I had to upgrade.
Cool. So in true Lauren fashion, right? You went after it, right? That was actually one of the things that probably kept you in pain to begin with, right? But at the end of the day, you got back to full speed and actually now beyond that. So really cool. It is possible if you're watching, you're like, hey, I've been dealing with stuff. I've been told I have all these things. I've tried all these things and they haven't worked. You can become pain free. The goal is not pain management. I have a lot of people reach out to me and like, wait, so you just like tell people to accept their pain and manage it? It's like, no, that's not really the goal, right? We're actually trying to help you live a life that is pain free and at least give you the tools, knowledge, and understanding to, God forbid, we're all humans here, pain does come back, you can solve it, right? So now let's talk about that. So you tried lots of different stuff, right? So like, can you go through some of the things that you had tried, right, to resolve this problem before working with us?
Sure. Well, obviously my life got small. Like I said, I stopped working out. So I tried, inactivity to
Mhm.
assuming there was an injury and that to see if I could heal. I went to the orthopedic surgeon twice. So I did have
Mhm.
x-rays. There were no findings on the x-rays. Um, I had blood work. I went down some Dr. Google rabbit holes
Okay.
and thought maybe I have this really terrible autoimmune disease because I did check a lot of the boxes as far as age and ethnicity
Yep.
and all of those things. So I ordered my own blood work and went
Hmm.
and had extensive blood work. Find all clear, beautiful blood work, and I just couldn't find any answers. I had chiropractic adjustments. I had like a brace that you would wear called the sacro lock belt or something.
Yep.
I
Yep.
don't know. It was so expensive. It's stuffed in a
Yep.
closet somewhere. Rolling around on the little nubby things. Like I did all sorts of things. I was really ritualistic about like Epsom salt baths, and I went through boxes of those Salon Pas pain patches. The
Yep.
orthopedic surgeon tried me on a prescription level nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory, but of course, with my personality, I Googled, potential side effects and
Yep.
myself so stirred up about it hurting my stomach that I only took it for 2 days. It just wasn't worth it. So I really didn't give that a good try, but it wouldn't have mattered anyways.
Yep.
Um, I did massage and I tried therapy. And at one point, I wanted to track my pain, which, because I love data, I love it.
Yep. Yep. Cool.
And so I wanted to track my pain, and I thought, I'm sure there's an app for that. So I was trying to find a pain tracker app.
Hmm.
Ugh, and one of the suggestions that came up was something called Curable.
Hmm.
Um, and I thought, oh, maybe that's it. Well,
Hmm.
I downloaded it. Certainly wasn't a pain tracking app, definitely a helpful app. But my initial reaction was like, no, this isn't for me.
Yep.
And
Yep.
so I set that aside. So I did have a little glimmer, a little moment in that summer of kind of heading that direction, but I didn't give it enough attention at the time. But yeah, I did lots and lots of blood work, lots of doctor's appointments.
Yep. Yeah, and I think actually, correct me if I'm wrong, like whenever we first chatted, you were like, "Hey Charlie, like I was watching one of your videos about the McGill Big Three and how sometimes it can make people worse, right? Because I studied under a McGill master. I kind of like went down all these structural rabbit holes, right? So I could learn every kind of different things and see things through different lenses, which was awesome. And then I went down the mind and the psychology route. But people tend to get very myopic sometimes, and like they follow these methods, if you will, right? I consider myself like a mutt. So like, you were watching this video, like what came to your mind when you saw me talking about this video, how it makes people worse? Can you share that? I think I remember what you said, but
Yes. So I've seen the video. I saw the video twice.
yep,
The first time I had ordered McGill's book along with the DVD.
the
And
back mechanic. Yep.
yep. And
Hmm.
I was doing the big three, and I was a gymnast, so I'm pretty good at movement, and I wasn't having any success. So I thought, well, I need to find someone to show me. So I had watched Squat University, I'd checked everybody else out, and
Yep.
I Googled again or searched in YouTube again, like, what am I doing wrong with the McGill Big Three? Well, your video came up. I remember standing in my workout room and playing the video, and I was like, no, was not receiving the message the first time. So
Yep.
I closed it and I kept going, and it actually kind of breaks my heart now, because every now and then I'll come across videos in my phone where I filmed myself to scrutinize my own form doing the big three. I was so hard on myself, and I wasn't getting anywhere. Well, fast forward to August, I was still trying. I was not getting anywhere. I was in really, really dire straits, really depressed, in a lot of pain, very worried for myself mentally, and physically, because no one could give me any answers. And I remembered your video, and I thought, I'm just going to go look one more time. And I watched it all the way through. And I think that was like August 23rd of 22. And I spoke with you on the 24th, and then, or maybe 24th, 26th. And then I was on my way.
Yeah, cool, cool. Yeah, and so I'll link it. I can always link it above or whatever. But this idea of, look, it works for some people, and I'm absolutely a proponent of using movement as medicine. But you've got to do it systematically, and a lot of times, right, the messages that are put out there are aimed to help you, right? We're not trying to harm you in doing so, but if you're fed certain beliefs, beliefs inform actions, which inform your results, right? And you're living by those beliefs. In this case, right, keep your core neutral, don't move like this, don't move like that. There's like this right way you should keep your spine, right? If you're not careful, that can actually reinforce, right, the fact that you're damaged and something is broken. Which, does that freak you out more or less? It freaks you out more, right? And so if you're not careful and you're targeting the wrong thing, which is what we help people make sure they're targeting the right thing, right, then you can absolutely do treatments that are well-meaning, but might actually perpetuate the problem, and make you more fearful of movement and more fearful of pain, which sets off the bells and whistles in the nervous system. So that's what was happening to you. It was backfiring, right?
Oh, yeah, bad.
Yeah, pretty bad, right? So we caught you in that. Luckily, we got you out of that, right? So you came into the program, right? And a lot of people say to me, "Hey, Charlie, I've tried lots of things. I've tried everything." This is what people say. By the way, trying everything means not trying any one thing. So if you are trying everything, it means you haven't tried any one thing, okay? And therefore, you're probably confused, and that's normal, and that's okay. But what would you say was different about the process compared to other processes and/or treatments that you had received?
I feel like the program gave me a break, by giving me directions and saying, give yourself a break, just start here. We're going to give you some things to read so that you can start to understand and evaluate your own situation,
Mhm.
which I really liked, having a partnership with you and your team, rather than you just telling me what to do or telling me that something is wrong with me. I've been hearing that for months.
Yeah, yeah.
So it was really nice to have a group to talk to and a path.
Mhm.
So the learning was huge. Like, you put a ton of information out there. It's awesome. And I was able to binge, which, we all love to say we binge Netflix, or we, binge movies and things like that. It's set up to where you're self-paced. And I
Mhm.
was able, because of how I am, I went through it as fast as I could. But I found it to be binge worthy
Yeah.
information, where I go, oh my gosh, I didn't know any of these things. So that was nice. I felt like I had a guide, but that
Mhm.
I still had some control, which was a really nice kind of fusion of what I was looking for.
Cool. Yeah, and I think even in the beginning, right, when I was reviewing your case, so we offer to review people's cases. There's no charge to it. I don't feel it's fair to charge people before I feel confident I can help. So we reviewed your case, and I remember one of the things you said, I think, at the end, Lauren, was like, you're looking for like a guide and like a roadmap almost like, hey, I'll do whatever it takes, right? But I don't know exactly what to do. And the people who end up working with us are really interested in learning how to fix themselves. And unfortunately, this usually comes at the point when they've tried relying on other people to fix them too much, right? And so ideally, we catch people as soon as possible. In your case, pretty soon. I mean, 6 months isn't too bad, not to belittle where you're at. But many people watching this might be, 6 years, 16 years, something like that. So we catch people at all different points. But yeah, the goal is really to give you the tools, knowledge, and understanding to resolve your own pain. All right. So now let's talk about this, right? Like, did you come in, you came from doing the McGill Big Three, like, what's the best exercise for me, probably mentality, like, show me what's next and I'll do whatever you say. And then we slow you down, right? And then like, do we give you a sheet of exercises in the program? Like, is it, do we just say, hey, like, here's 5 different things for SI joint problems? Is that how we started it out?
No. It was it's individualized. So you start walking through the information and then learning how to lower your fear, lower your anxiety about what you're going through, moving into types of movement that are gentle, non-threatening, and designed for whatever your situation is. And you can tell once you join the group that people who have more things going on with their legs will be doing certain types of movement to start getting back to activity. People like myself, where I kind of had this, I was so scared of movement that we started off with like little, very, very small, non-threatening movement. So and motions. So yeah, no, it is not a blanket prescription where everybody does the same exercise. It's self-guided, but you also get the coaching and the group interaction and a plan for what is going on with you and your body.
Yep. Okay, got it. And did again, it wasn't random. I mean, did we teach you a process for tracking things, for testing things? What did that look like? Give people a flair for kind of what that might look like, or how that might go about working for them.
Yeah, you get your own like personal spreadsheet and data.
Tracker. Yeah.
And yeah, a tracker. And so you can input, there's certain movements and motions where you can test and then rate, like, did that hurt or did that not hurt? Or wow, that feels nice. Oh, wow. And so you start to collect some wins and some ways to move that work for you now. And then you get to decide as you're dialing down that fear, if you want to kind of expand those movements. And for me, next thing you know, I was exercising again. So it went pretty quickly for me.
Yeah. How quickly would you say you started to see results, right? So here you are, 6 months, just banging your head against the wall over and over again, right? How quickly would you say you started to feel better?
This is the miracle part for me. So I joined, I think August 26th. I think that's the correct date. And 2 weeks later, I had to leave to drive from, I live in the deep South, and my in-laws live way, way, way up north, almost to Canada. And if you were listening to the first part of this, my trigger was sitting. So I had a 21-hour road trip.
Yeah.
And 2 weeks before that road trip, I could not sit to even go to the grocery store. And 2 weeks after joining, I made that road trip. I had tools in place. I had the app on my phone so I could check in, and I did check in. I was like, I made it. I'm in Virginia. So, yeah. So that, to me, that's the most glaring example of how quickly I made progress. I would say I was back to like living my life on my terms within a month. I resumed all activity as far as like, I bought a chair, I'm sitting right now. I bought a chair about a month in. I was lifting weights again by December. I was kind of slow to pick up the weights again because I didn't want to psych myself out. So I really paced myself with exercise because I knew how important it was to me. But yeah, 2 weeks from I can't sit at all to a 21-hour road trip. So I would say 2 weeks, the difference was just huge.
Awesome. Cool. Good stuff. Now, you mentioned a key word, right? So to summarize, you come into the process and program. You start with this idea of like, hey, I've got an SI joint. I need to figure this thing out, right? We completely flip the script, right? And some people are just like, whoa, this is weird. Just like you said, oh my gosh, I wish I would have known about this stuff. And you mentioned a very key word, safety, right? And fear, right? And so one thing that we aim to establish when anybody is in pain and they've been stuck in pain for any amount of time is a lot of people think that we target the diagnosis, right? The SI joint, the herniated disc, but really we're targeting a sensitive nervous system. And so we definitely, to begin with, we optimize the healing environment mentally and physically, right? If you have certain beliefs, certain experiences, certain thoughts, worries, concerns, right? Anxieties around what you're dealing with, well, guess what? That's not going to create an environment that's conducive to healing. You experience that firsthand, right? This get her done type A, I'll do whatever it takes, works really well, probably for a lot of things, but not when you're in this situation. So this is where we help kind of like, I call it calm muddy waters, really help you get clarity. Also physically, what are some ways you can tweak the way that you're sitting and the way that you're moving to start to not fix your SI joint, right? But to, in this case, reduce fear, instill a sense of safety, right? Versus threat. You mentioned yum emotions. Oh, that feels good, right? When you're in pain, you start to become avoidant of certain activities or positions or movements, right? And the more you do those and the more it hurts, the more you reinforce that those things are bad, right? So like, did we have a lot of discussion, right? Because I can imagine somebody watching this be like, well, what happened? Like her SI joint, her piriformis syndrome, her herniated disc, like what happened to those things, right? Like, did we target the diagnosis? And I don't know, just what happened there? Like, what's your thought about that now that you know what you know, you know?
And it's really funny the way you're framing the question. I so quickly shed myself of those diagnoses, because the program and the knowledge allowed me to very quickly realize, okay, I can sit a little. Oh, okay. It doesn't hurt when I pick the laundry out of the dryer. I Calming muddy waters, truly calming down, settling the nervous system, and having support, I think allowed me to capture these little moments of that didn't hurt,
Yeah,
and
I'm okay.
getting okay with it. And I also learned by exposure to this approach that having a diagnosis is a short-term fix. Like it feels good for someone to say you have and fill
Yeah.
in the blank. But a lot of these syndromes and itises that a lot of us end up with, that's all they are. They're just a word, and we attach so strongly to them, and we go down Dr. Google rabbit holes. But there's no end game. You don't get anywhere with that except really nervous and scared.
Yep.
So for me, I dropped it all. Like I stopped. In fact, this may be the first time I've said SI joint in almost 2 years. Um,
Uh-oh.
to me, it's not. I'm good. To me, it's not. That wasn't the problem. That those were just labels, and letting go of those labels, I think, is why I was able to come around so quickly.
Really cool. Yeah, and I bring that up is awesome what you put it, because there are so many people out there, right, who get this label. It feels good because it's like a justification of like, okay, this makes sense. I'm not crazy. By the way, you're not crazy if you're watching this, okay? All pain is real. All right. But I have this thing now, right? And because I have this thing, right? This thing, right? Then I'm gonna walk around, I'm gonna walk in anywhere, and it's like, oh, what are the best exercises for an SI joint problem? Now that I know what it is, I can treat it. But the issue is, if you're using natural means, I mean, if you want surgery, okay, you might want to kind of know what it is, because never cut what you can untie, right? But if you're using natural means like movement and mind, right, and psychological principles and tactics, mind and body to solve this problem, then movement is inherently non-specific. And so you cannot target like a diagnosis. I can't just wiggle your SI joint or your disc or something like that, contrary to what a lot of people believe. So it really keeps people really stuck in their belief system, right? So if you believe you have an SI joint problem and it's unstable, well, you're probably going to be like, oh, well, I should do these exercises and these are bad. And so you're going to start to place all these beliefs on different things, which may be keeping you actually from discovering that which is needed to help you solve the problem, right? So they really keep people stuck. So short term, I think maybe it makes people feel good for the moment, but long term, I'm not sure it provides a lot of value, unless, of course, you want the less natural route. All right, good stuff. So let me ask you this: like, knowing what you know now, all right, why do you think it is that all those other approaches didn't work
I think all they do is make you feel helpless and that you have no control. It separates the mind and the body, which, boy, when you think about it, you can't do that. You can't
No.
separate them. Duh. It's
Yeah.
it's connected to you. Um, and one of the analogies that I love is, when you are sad, you cry. When you are embarrassed, you blush. So we do know that we can experience emotions physically. So how could fear and stress not contribute to an elevated sense of pain? It just made so much sense to me. But yeah, the labels just scared me, and the other approaches, when I failed because they weren't made to work, it just killed my confidence. And again, my life got so small so fast, and I'm pretty gregarious and extroverted, and wanted to be around people and socialize. I wasn't socializing because I couldn't sit and have lunch with my mom. I couldn't meet someone for coffee. My husband and I couldn't go on a date. Like, all it did was lead to this kind of snowball effect of not being able to live my life on my terms.
Yeah.
So I just feel like the other approaches, surgery, if you really want to dig into statistics around surgical interventions for pain, they're not super successful.
Yeah.
So I knew quickly I wanted to run away from that. Um, and I also found that when you're really heavy into like chiropractic or massage or acupuncture, those become things that must be maintained. And
Yeah.
it didn't make sense to me. If I've gone 40 years without needing these, why do I suddenly have to do this for the next half of my life? That didn't make sense to me either. So I wanted to find something where I could be in the driver's seat. So it was just perfect for me.
Cool, cool. Yeah, so basically the goal is, again, I used to teach manual therapy, hands-on treatment, right? I used to crack necks and backs all day. I went down the myofascial route. I have all the tools that scrape people and the balls, and I mean, I could show you everything, right? And what I found is that, okay, anything could work well in the moment, right? So I was good at fixing people, so I thought in the moment, but people were inherently bad at fixing themselves, and it's not anybody's fault watching this, but the goal is, look, if you want to be in the driver's seat and you want to be empowered with the right tools and knowledge and understanding, it's one thing when your car breaks down, you drop it off, you get a loaner. When your body breaks down, the only vehicle you have, you kind of have to know what to do, right? And so the goal is really to empower people with what they need to solve the problem. And I just coach people through it. All right. So it's probably within you, but a lot of people look without or outside of themselves for the solution, when really it just takes somebody to kind of highlight it like we did for you.
Yeah. And the group setting, like I don't have Facebook or Twitter or any of that stuff. That's
Yeah.
kind of not my jam.
Yeah.
I was least interested in the group aspect, and it turned out to be my favorite part. Being able to connect with people at various stages in the process. There are several people who had been through it a number of months and possibly years earlier, that I could click on their name and go back and read their post and watch them walk through it. And it just bolstered my confidence. And so I thought, she sounds like me,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
And I got super involved in the conversation in the group, and I'm still there. And I think that part has so much value, because there are definitely other people in the like biopsychosocial pain sphere or whatnot that offer one-on-one coaching, which is awesome, because we also get that too with you. But you're kind of isolated to being in a Facebook group or no group at all. And with your coaching system, it's an off social group. So it was something I had access to without compromising a personal stance.
Yeah.
And it's awesome. It is so much fun. We have a ball. We have memes, and we stay in touch. And there are a couple of us that kind of joined at the same time, and we hit those benchmarks at similar times, and we're still in touch. And it's awesome. And we're all doing well.
Good, good, awesome. Yeah, so you get access to classroom, a community, right? Coaching, obviously, and yeah, the community is off of Facebook, so nothing against Facebook, but no drama, right? And it's really tight knit. And the cool thing is, like you said, you know, it's inspiring, and this is the reason why I appreciate people like you just willing to have the chat around your experience because you know, you come into the process and it's like, is there anyone else out there? Like, am I hello? Like, am I the only one? Right? And it's like, no, there are a lot of people like you, Lauren, and if you're willing to lean into support, and a lot of people are sort of like, I don't know about that, I don't really need that. But it's useful. It's like a mastermind, you know. I mean, you know, I don't think any of us went to school maybe by ourselves. Maybe we did, right? And you can be smart like that too. I know a really smart dude who did that. But a lot of us are social creatures, right? And we're emotional too. And so sometimes it's useful to have people who are where we want to be, and then we can look and we can see how they reverse engineered it. And you can learn from all these people who are going through very similar things because it is a specialty program for people with back, butt, sciatica type issues, right? So really cool. I appreciate you touching on that. So look, if there's final question, there's somebody's watching, right? And they're like, hey, this sounds cool, but maybe it's too good to be true, right? Is this another like scam? Like what would you say to them if they were on the fence about moving forward with the process, at least having us review the case and moving in that direction?
I think if you're here and you're watching this, you're there, you're ready to go in a different direction. You want to take control of your life again and get your normal life back. Um, I would say again, like I don't have social media. I don't do this stuff normally. And I just stumbled upon this. And I think, I mean, I believe in fate. I think it happened for a reason. And I'm telling you that day that I had my call with you, I was in pretty severe pain. My pain dropped during the call. And I think it's because I knew I could trust you and that I was about to start a journey and get out. So I just don't see any downside to trying something that will not cut on you, hurt you. There's no medication and you get to go at your own pace and you are driving the ship. So gosh, give it a chance. It's so the risk is low. I love it and I'll be in the group, you know, to say hello and say weird stuff if you want to join.
Awesome. Cool. Well, hey, I appreciate it. So look, if you're watching this and you feel stuck for whatever reason, maybe you've tried lots of different things, maybe been told a bunch of different things, maybe as you're just starting out and you're like, hey, I don't want to go through what Lauren went through. I just want to like nip it right now. Right. Then let's do it. Right. Meaning what we offer is to review a case. Okay. So basically, I don't know who you are watching this, right? Maybe your case is similar to Lauren's. Maybe it's not. Maybe we can help. Maybe we can't help. But what I like to offer to people is to review what I call a case review, right? So basically, there'll be a link somewhere around this video, probably in the description or the comments. You can click, you can schedule a time to chat with us and a member of my team, and then follow instructions, submit a case review. I've reviewed thousands of these. It doesn't mean I know everything. It just means that I'm a PT. I have a specialty in orthopedics. I have a residency, you know, trained experience, and I only help people with back, butt, sciatica problems. Again, doesn't mean I know everything. Just means this is all I do. And so that is a questionnaire that we've designed to basically get an idea of like, what are you dealing with? What things make you feel better or worse? And through that, we can get an idea of whether or not we can help, right? So if you're watching this and you are interested at the very least at having us review the case, having me review the case, if we review it and we don't feel confident we can help, here's the cool thing. We just call you. I usually call you, right? And we just let you know, and no harm, no foul. But at the very least, right, if you're looking to solve the problem, just like Lauren was, and now her cat is too in the background, then is that a cat or is that a shoe? I don't know, but
There's a dog.
there's a dog, sorry. Then go ahead, click the link below this video, set up a time to chat with us, and then submit your case for review, and we'd love to see if we can help you out. So you don't have to be stuck. Lauren, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know there are lots of people out there who can be like, dang, like I kind of sound like that person, and I could probably use some help. So thank you for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Cool, cool. No problem. All right, that's all I got, everyone. This is Dr. Charlie. Great having you, Lauren. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Again, if you're interested in having us review your case, just click the link below the video. Thanks.